personal loan.
You're watching News 12 on your side.
Follow News 1226 on Instagram to see what's trending in your area.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12, first at 4.
We need to do more than vaccinate Americans. To beat the pandemic, we have to vaccinate the world as well.
New words from President Biden this afternoon on a new COVID variant. It is called the Omicron variant, and here is what we know so far about it. The first Omicron variant was found in South Africa 3 weeks ago, but it began to spread to Europe and Canada over the weekend. Like with every other variant, there are concerns it could be vaccine resistant. Vaccine manufacturers say it will take about 2 weeks to learn if that's the case, though. President Joe Biden announced travel restrictions for 8 countries in Africa, including South Africa. That starts next week. Our Celeste Springer joins us now live in the studio. And Celeste, this all comes after a very busy travel season.
A very busy one indeed. According to data from TSA, yesterday was the busiest travel day since the pandemic began. 2.4 million people flowed through checkpoints yesterday. Compare that exact date yesterday to a year ago, where numbers paled in comparison. 2020 saw less than half of those travelers, but despite the huge increase we saw this year, it still does not beat the holiday travel numbers pre-pandemic in 2019. But with so many travelers and a new variant in the mix, should we be concerned? Local health experts say it's too soon to tell what the variant could bring, but keep in mind, the fact that the virus is mutating in general should not raise alarm. They tell us all viruses will mutate, but not all mutations are something to be worried about. For now, we don't know how much this variant affects the unvaccinated and vaccinated, though AU tells us early reports out of South Africa indicate this could be less deadly than the Delta variant. But at the end of the day, we just need to wait and see. But we're told for now there isn't anything to freak out about.
My take-home message would be, don't panic. Just because it has more mutations doesn't mean that it's going to be more deadly or spread easier than what we currently see.
And coming up at 6 o'clock, I'm working on a full story breaking down what precautions health experts say we should be paying attention to as we get back to work after the holiday weekend.
All right, thanks for that, Celeste. Some good news, though, for COVID hospitalizations in our area. There's still a quarter of what they were around Labor Day, when the Delta variant was a huge problem. University Hospital has 18 people currently hospitalized. That's the same as last week. Doctors is up 5 from a week ago. Norwood has 3. That's up from 2 a week ago at the VA. And AU Health has 26 patients. That's down from 8 from last week. But again, all much better news than 3 months ago. So we are going in the right direction. Tomorrow, the hearing is at 11 in Columbia tomorrow. New this afternoon, federal workers will not be punished for not complying with the vaccine mandate. A federal spokesperson says the deadline was, quote, not a cliff, and our goal is to protect workers and not penalize anyone. We are working to find out what that means for SRS employees who were already fired, but some senators still believe the vaccine should be a choice.
It's better leaving individuals free to exercise their freedom, their independence, and to make a choice.
It's a surprise to me that there are so many people, a high percent of people refuse to accept this public health strategy.
The White House says 96% of the federal workforce is vaccinated. Taking a look outside, look at those beautiful...
You're watching News 12 on your side.
From the station that's on your side, News 12, first at 5, continues.
Good evening. It's day 2 of a manhunt in Edgefield, where we're learning the suspect is wanted for kidnapping, criminal sexual conduct, and a domestic violence charge, all of them felonies.
The search started early yesterday morning, but the public wasn't notified until late Sunday afternoon. News 12's Sloan O'Cone has been in Edgefield following this story, and she's watching reports from Penn Street, which is right near the American Legion post. So, Sloan, what is the latest? What are you seeing out there on the ground? Well, you can see behind me command posts. There are cop cars lined up. The Aiken County Sheriff's Office has their RV here. There are 8 agencies all working together to try and pinpoint exactly where Trayvonte Langford has been. I mean, and there has been 2 sightings of him so far at least. He's knocked on people's doors asking for help. One witness says they saw him early this morning while they were driving on the side of the road. They described him as tired and worn out, but he has not harmed anyone in the community yet. And Sheriff Rowland says early on in the search, they felt confident they would find Langford in the next couple of hours and everything would be fine. Now, because there are no immediate threats to the community, that's why they didn't initially say anything. The only person he poses a threat to is the domestic violence victim and their family. They have bloodhounds, attack dogs, roads blocked off, men on the ground, and the helicopter all efforting the search. Rowland says he considers Langford mean, dangerous, and a wanted felon.
Most unusual cases of my career. It's been every step of the way has been hard. He's made it from the Meriwether section to almost the city limits of Edgefield on foot in deep woods. We've tracked him through swamps. We've tracked him down dirt roads. We've tracked him where there were no roads.
And Sheriff Rowland says that none of this would be possible without the help of all the agencies, and he's encouraging residents to stay vigilant and aware. And if you do think you've spotted Langford, to call 911. Now, just because he's not a threat to the community doesn't mean that he's not impacting the community in any way. Coming up at 6 o'clock, I'm working on a story talking to one local church about how the search could have impacted them. Okay, thanks. Keep us updated, and we can come back to you if we need to, if there's any immediate updates, Sloan. Out there, we are taking a look over Wheeler Road, and it is...
The president says people should still wear a mask in crowded indoor areas, but he does not anticipate any more travel restrictions. Of course, that could change depending on how this virus spreads.
We're learning new details about a shooting at the Spring House Apartments Friday that left one woman injured. That's the complex right across from Sam's on Bobby Jones. The victim says she was shot in the arm by her husband. Janiro Godinez was wanted in connection to that shooting. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office says they arrested him Saturday afternoon all the way in Oklahoma. The woman was taken to the hospital Friday. She was treated for non-life-threatening wounds.
The Richmond County Sheriff's Office looking for a man who allegedly pointed a gun at someone last Tuesday. And here's a look at that suspect. The Sheriff's Office says this happened on Wrightsboro Road, about a block from AU's Forest Hills campus. If you have any information about him, call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office at the number right there on the screen. Lawmakers in South Carolina should be getting closer to settling on that new districting map.
In his social spending and climate agenda.
Applications are open now for Columbia County's 2nd annual Restaurant Week. The event is set for January 24th, runs through the 30th. To support local restaurants, the Chamber of Commerce and the Convention and Visitors Bureau are waiving the application fee. The businesses do have to be locally or regionally owned to take part in this. The deadline to register is coming up January the 14th.
A statewide survey shows gas prices did drop 4 cents per gallon across South Carolina last week. According to AAA, the average price of gas in South Carolina is about $3.09 a gallon right now. Here in Georgia, a little higher, $3.22, but the two-state is still below the national average, which we know and love about the two-state. As of today, AAA says the average price of gas across the country is $3.39. Lowest I've seen, $2.88, Costco.
That's true. University Hospital looking to hire patient care assistants, medical assistants, and surgical techs. They're hosting a hiring fair coming up Wednesday at their Heart and Vascular Center lobby. That starts at 10 in the morning and runs until 1 in the afternoon. There's more information at universityhealth.org/careers.
Coming up, an Army veteran gets the send-off he deserves. Okay, coming up next, ladies, if you've not heard about this, we're about to change your world. Today's app of the day is Rent the Runway. It's great for your next holiday party or any other event, really. We're going to show you how it works when we come back. Go to the attic. Oh, hi guys. Sorry, we were talking about Christmas tree shopping.
Let's talk about science fiction, or science that sounds like fiction. NASA launching a mission to try to redirect an asteroid.
We are hoping that all their math is dialed in. This test mission will be the first ever for planetary defense, which sounds awfully terrifying.
It just sounds like science fiction. It's so cool to talk about and how this is actually going on. Before we talk about the mission itself, I want to take a second and talk about gravity and how it works. So we got this saran wrap here, and we got a little bit of an orange here. So I'm going to need your guys' help if you guys want to hold this up for me so everyone at home can see. But this saran wrap, Yeah, we can move over a little bit here.
We are simplifying this.
There we go. So
by
the saran wrap is going to be, oh nice, we got it zoomed in too. So this is going to be space for us. The orange, this represents the Earth, so as I put this on the saran wrap, notice how it sinks a little bit, and this is how gravity works in space. So if you have a little asteroid that comes along, it can actually get kind of sucked in down this little slope a little bit and ends up impacting Earth. Now, the way DART is going to be working, and let's talk about what it actually stands for. You guys can put this down. Thanks for holding that for me. There we go. And now the Earth is falling off into space there. So DART stands for the Double Asteroid Redirection Test. It was launched by SpaceX back on Wednesday and will travel for about 10 months to meet up with one of those asteroid systems, impact with one of those asteroids, and that is going to be causing it to change its orbit. Now, the hope is that this will end up going, the spacecraft traveling at high speed will have enough force behind it to actually move the asteroid by just a couple of centimeters. Now, it may not sound like a whole lot, but those centimeters will add up over a long period of time. Now, for more on the mission itself, let's hear from one of those engineers.
Now, we chose to do this demonstration at a binary asteroid. The main asteroid is called Didymos, and its moon. DART is actually targeted to the moon of the Didymos system, and that's a much smaller target than any spacecraft has ever managed to hit before.
You know, Didymos is a system that is tightly locked together, so we're going to try to push on the little moon and try to push it away in such a way that it will change the orbit of the asteroid and it will move it.
Now, it is important to note that this is just going to be a test, and none of the asteroids are actually going to be on their way to Earth. So even after this, after DART does impact the asteroid, it is going to stay far away from Earth, and we're not going to have to worry about it. It's going to be pretty interesting to see in the next 10 months what the actual results are going to be. If you want to learn more about this mission, we have a link on our website, wrdw.com, guys.
A release to hear that will not be heading our way after the mission either.
That's what they tell us.
This is a safe one to practice on, I guess.
We're trusting them. I guess we have no other choice, right?
We'll stay tuned. Well, it's the holiday party season, and if you have several events planned, you may already be stressing out about what to wear.
A lot of people, mostly women, don't want to wear the same dress to every function. Our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker has an app to tell you about to help partygoers figure out what to wear.
Wardrobes for holiday parties can be very expensive, especially if you don't like wearing the same thing more than once. But this smartphone app is being used by women all over the country to rent the runway. Rent the Runway offers a chance for users to rent things they can wear for a few days and return them to rent something else. These aren't just any clothes, but designer items they might never purchase for themselves. For example, dresses for a holiday party, which can be very expensive. Rent the Runway features dozens of popular designers and organizes them into categories to make it easy to search. Dresses for work parties, nights out, weddings, and New Year's Eve. There are elegant dresses, the classic black dress, outerwear. This Sherpa jacket that retails for nearly $2,000 is free for people with a Rent the Runway subscription. There are also purses and clutches and earrings and necklaces. Items are rented for a minimum of 4 days, but users can keep them longer. Search for your size, schedule it, and Rent the Runway will ship the item to your home. Then once you've worn it all you want, return it with a self-enclosed shipping label. Subscriptions aren't cheap, $81 a month plus tax for 8 items, but that's still cheaper than purchasing holiday outfits you might wear only once. There is no minimum subscription, so you can join just for the holidays. I'm Jamie Tucker, and Rent the Runway is the app of the day.
And the Rent the Runway app is only available for iPhones, but you can also get the items from the website itself, and that's renttherunway.com. Laura's a big fan.
Yeah, I've been using it for like 10 years. It is a game changer if you have a lot of events to go to.
Why buy it if you're going to wear it once?
Wear once, send it back, and they dry clean it. You don't even have to get it dry cleaned.
A win-win.
Hey, not a bad deal right there. And we are in store for a clear night.
Wherever you go. From the station that's on your side. This is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
On the ground and in the air, a county-wide manhunt is on. 8 agencies, nearly 48 hours of searching, and the suspect is still on the loose.
Plus, a new COVID variant spreading across the globe, prompting travel restrictions, including some here in the U.S. What health officials know and why they say it is not time to panic. But first up this evening, the golf world has lost a trailblazer. Lee Elder, four-time PGA Tour winner and the first black man to ever play in the Masters, has died at the age of 87.
He was honored by the Masters tournament this past year as an honorary starter alongside Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player for his huge contributions to golf and work towards equality for all. And it is a legacy that will long outlive his 87 years. A lot of golfers are born into a life of opportunity and privilege. Lee Elder was born black in 1934 in a Dallas ghetto.
Never thought in my mind that I would have the success that I have had in the past, and to be able to accomplish the things that I've accomplished.
Lee told me that at the Masters tournament in 2019, the year Tiger Woods would accomplish one of the greatest comebacks in sports history.
Things that Tiger have been able to achieve and the following that he have acquired, and all the people that really turned to the game of golf because of it. I'd like to think that I had a small hand in helping him get to that plateau.
And it's safe to say he played more than a small hand at the 1975 Masters tournament when he hit a tee shot heard around the world and became the first black man to play in the Masters.
What I remember so much about my first visit here was the fact that every tee and every green that I walked up, I got tremendous ovations.
Several years ago, longtime Augusta National caddy Carl Jackson told us what that moment was like as a black man. When everyone else was watching Elder's first shot, he was watching their faces.
I just wanted to look some people in the face. Your expressions, just tell them what's in your heart, in your mind. Living through the days of the death of the Kennedys and King, you're looking for something, and you're looking for hope, and I saw hope.
And that hope continues. After a year of racial strife across the country, in 2020, Augusta National made a very loud gesture for a club often criticized for their silence.
The courage and commitment of Lee Elder and other trailblazers like him inspired men and women of color to pursue their rightful opportunity to compete and follow their dreams. But in reality, that opportunity is still elusive for many. We have a long way to go. And we can and we must do more.
The tournament funded a scholarship in his name at Payne College. They also announced 2 scholarships bearing Elder's name that will be awarded yearly to a male and female golfer at the school. And they announced they would recognize Lee Elder as an honorary starter for the 2021 Masters tournament.
Today, Lee Elder will inspire us and make history once more. Not with the drive, but with his presence, strength, and character. Lee, it is my privilege to say you have the honors.
He's accomplished a lot in his career. 4 PGA Tour wins, a Ryder Cup victory, the Bob Jones Award, a trailblazer to say the least. But you would never hear him brag about any of it. Lee Elder was humble, gracious, unpretentious, and kind.
And I just want to say thank you so very much to have me here. It's a great honor, and I cherish it very much, and I will always cherish it. And I want to thank the chairman for extending me this great privilege.
He never set out to change the world. He just wanted to be a good golfer. But this orphan who cut class to pick up caddy shifts exceeded the odds and did both. And it isn't just Augusta where he left his mark. He was also the first African American to compete in the 1971 South African PGA. This was during the apartheid era, and the first African American to compete in the Ryder Cup. That was in 1979, so not so ancient history.
Such a trailblazer who clearly loved Augusta. He came back April after April after April, always a smile and always willing to give you that kind of interview. But I'm really glad you had that one-on-one with him.
Yes, special moment. Watching him watch Tiger, you could not have chills watching that.
And Payne College rolling out the red carpet as well. Very special Masters week.
Absolutely, it was, and he will be missed, and his legacy will be felt.
Let's have a live look outside. This is
going to be a cold start to our Tuesday, but we do look much warmer for the rest of the week. We'll have that full forecast in just a little bit.
Riley, thank you. More than 40 hours in now, still no arrest in a county-wide manhunt. Edgefield County deputies, along with 7 other agencies, looking for this man, Trevonna Langford, wanted for kidnapping, criminal sexual conduct, and aggravated domestic violence. Sloan O'Cone live for us near Highway 25 and Sweetwater Road, where police have set up sort of a makeshift headquarters. Sloan police have been searching this area since about 2 in the morning on Sunday, but people living there tell us they had no idea until about 4 in the afternoon on Sunday why such a long silence on announcing this search.
Well, Sheriff Jody Rowland says that they didn't initially tell the communities because they thought they would catch Langford in the first few hours, but as that search started to migrate through those neighborhoods, they made sure they had deputies posted throughout them. But there still really was no urgency because Langford has not been a threat to the community. He's a threat to the victim and the victim's family of that domestic dispute case that's happening there. But still, the search is causing some excitement throughout the community.
Well, I thought, holy cow. That was my first thought.
Hosting the command post for a manhunt is not what the Clark family expected at their church today.
We had heard about it a couple hours earlier because we were getting ready to go to the church, and Daddy pulled it up and he said, hey, y'all, keep an eye out because this is going on right where y'all are going to be, so just keep an eye out. And then they got here, and everything was happening right here.
Clark says they prayed for Edgefield constantly, so they were grateful to help their efforts.
Yeah, when my sister called me, she said, I think this is the safest place right now. I think we're good.
Unfortunately, they're hosting their first funeral, so law enforcement relocated out of respect. But that doesn't mean the search is anywhere near over.
I consider him mean. I consider him dangerous. He's a wanted felon.
Sheriff Rowland says this is the most unusual chase of his career.
He's made it from the Meriwether section to almost the city limits of Edgefield on foot in deep woods. We've tracked him through swamps. We've tracked him down dirt roads. We've tracked him where there were no roads.
They're using bloodhounds, attack dogs, men on the ground, and the helicopter.
If I had 50 more police officers, I'd use them too.
And won't stop until he knows everyone is safe. And there have been 2 sightings of Langford. Witnesses have been describing him as tired and overrun. And Sheriff Rowland says, if you think that you have seen Langford, to contact law enforcement, call 911. Do not approach him because he is considered dangerous, and to stay vigilant and aware.
Sloan O'Cone in Edgefield County for us tonight. Sloan, thank you. White House officials say it's not time to sound the alarm when it comes to that new COVID variant, Omicron.
In a briefing today, President Biden says while it is a cause for concern, it is not a cause for panic. Here's what we know so far about it. Omicron was first reported in South Africa, but as of right now, no known cases have been reported in the U.S. Today, in hopes of trying to slow down that spread, there's some new travel restrictions in place from South Africa and these 7 other African countries.
So far, the variant's been detected in these 14 countries, including Canada. Health experts say it could take 2 weeks or longer to have information on how fast this virus spreads, just how sick you'll get if you're infected.
Both Georgia and South Carolina's health departments keeping a really close eye on this, but as of right now, COVID cases nowhere near what we saw at the height of the Delta variant over the summer. Today, our Augusta area hospitals have a total of 58 COVID patients. That's across all of our hospitals. And to put that number in perspective, because it does sound kind of high, but back in September at our peak, we had 398 COVID patients in our local hospitals. We have Celeste Springer live in the newsroom for us. So Celeste, the World Health Organization calls the Omicron variant a very high global risk. Even with the vaccine, what are local health officials saying about that?
Well, an infectious disease expert at AU tells me they'll be keeping an eye on it, and though we don't know much yet, this is not something they say to panic about.
The words COVID and vaccine are likely the most used words this year, though arguably the most used phrase would be wait and see. The situation now with the Omicron variant, no different.
Well, we don't know very much.
Though on its own, the fact that the virus is mutating is nothing to freak out about.
Not all mutations make the virus more deadly. Not all mutations make the virus easier to spread.
We don't know for sure exactly where the mutation started.
It probably originated in a country where there was a very low vaccination rate.
Vaccination rates in some of the southern region of Africa are low. Namibia, for example, stands at a vaccination rate of 22%, according to WHO. In Georgia, our number is 51% fully vaccinated. Here at home, though, the advice stays the same, regardless of the new variant.
Get vaccinated. Wear a mask if you aren't vaccinated especially. Wear a mask in crowds.
And while this new variant makes headlines, we're told it's nothing to ring alarm bells about.
My take-home message would be, don't panic. Just because there's a new variant doesn't mean that it's going to be more deadly or spread more easily than what we currently have.
And for now, as always, we'll just have to wait and see. Experts are still working to figure out how effective the vaccine is against this new variant, but we know it is safe and effective against the largely predominant Delta variant. And health experts say the vaccine is still your best protection against severe illness and death.
All right, thank you for that report, Celeste. We are looking at a cold night before the rest of the week. We are going to warm up those temperatures. Have a look at that warm up just after the break.
Plus, vet practices across